Hello everybody, I am AngryBird and we are back for another quick tips video. Okay, so hopefully you caught the last one. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but this series aims to provide sort of quick tips that are easy to, easy to digest, easy to look at. I'm not talking about 1 hour tutorials here. So, this one I think is probably for the more advanced player. The reason being is it's not that difficult, but I think it needs a bit more. It needs map experience for a start, and new players, beginner players, they don't have the map experience. But it also needs a little bit of thought, and I think sometimes new and beginning players are constantly reacting to what's happening on the map and the enemy, what the enemy's doing, that they don't have time to kind of just take a moment and have a think about what they're going to do. So the tip for this video is using line of sight to help your attacks. So I'm going to show some examples and we'll talk through it, and you'll get to know a bit more, you'll understand a bit more what I mean. So I'm actually using footage here from another video of mine. It was AngryBird Plays Rangary's Unit of the Week, recently released. The Unit of the Week was the OSNAS, and I kind of like the format of those videos. If you haven't seen it, check it out. But the format means that sometimes you get pushed into unusual situations, and it kind of helps you learn a bit, different techniques to kind of help yourself out. So what's happening here is we're playing the 9th Cavalry, and all we've really got to rely on for anti-tank is the amateurs. We've kind of sacrificed this right hand side, and what that's allowed the enemy to do is push up a Panzerbücher anti-tank gun and a couple of Panzer IVs, and he later brings in, I think, the Tiger E here. Yeah, he's bringing that into the same position. What that's doing is shutting down this road here. And what it means is that we can't really enforce this compound or this centre ground from our spawn due to the fact that he's shutting down the routes. So what we've tried to do with these two units is reinforce this compound, because all we've got left is 1 MCHR and sort of 2 OSNAs remaining. So we're pushing forward and we're trying to reinforce this compound. But really, what's happened is I've realised that I can't push over this ground because the Panzerbücher 41 is covering the ground, and also the tanks are also covering the ground. If you look, they're now engaging the enemy there. So I've kind of realised that I can't take these troops straight across sort of the quickest route. So what I've done is use the line of sight of the map and this hill. If you look here, I'm using this hill to block off the line of sight up this road, and I'm taking these Kazaki SVTs all the way around this hill. The original idea is to reinforce this compound here, but we do change plan halfway through. So as you can see, these Kazaki SVTs now, because of the use of this hill, they're no longer in real trouble from this road. So this is what I mean by sort of using the line of sight to help your attacks. You don't always have to attack in the most expected way or the most expected position. You can attack the enemy. Well, this is the whole point really. If you attack the enemy in the sort of most expected way, that's where all the enemy puts their defences. Like, he's putting all of his defences here because he's expecting us to sort of go up this road and to come up this road and reinforce along this road up to the forest. Whereas what we've done is we're using the line of sight of these hills to protect ourselves from this avenue of attack. And these Kazaki SVT now, I changed plans because the Alpha Cloud Panther D I thought was probably going to spot the units before they got into that compound, and also we lost the flag here, so I needed to reinforce this. It was more important than this compound. But what that's allowed us to do, the two Kazaki that we first tried to move across, they've been pinned down there. There's no way they can get to the forest to reinforce. But these 4 Kazakis, because I use the line of sight of this hill, they're now able to get into position to kind of attack the enemy in a position that they're probably not prepared for. So this is the quick tip. You know, learn the map and use the line of sight for your advantage. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut to some more footage just to give you a few more ideas, hopefully sort of hammer home what I mean really. So back with another example really. It's actually the same game, and if you have watched the video you will definitely have seen this attack. The aim here, I mean, we've got a lot of infantry troops coming in, and the aim here is to take over this entire right hand side. Now if I'd have just called these infantry in straight to the woods, to the flags, they'd have gone right up this road, come along this road, and then came off to enter the woods here, because that is the fastest route. But that would have taken us right up this road where the enemy had all the tanks, and he's got the flat 43s covering. There's no way they would have survived. So what we did instead was use this hill and then unload troops here at the bottom of the hill and push them up by foot. And it's a very easy way to use the line of sight and get troops into this forest without sort of using the normal avenue of approach where all the enemy's defences will be focused. Generally the enemy will always have AT guns back at this position, or a heavy tank or something that's just shutting down this supply road. So that, you know, using the line of sight can really help you. What a lot of players don't do is use these hills around the back. So even if you're on the northern side, you can drive infantry and tanks around these trees, these hills, and you know, you get something down into this position and it shuts off this road here. You can easily do that using the line of sight. In this case, we actually made sort of a daring last ditch attempt to attack these areas, and we used the line of sight of these hills completely. And if it wasn't for this Panther G that came in, this whole area could have been completely shut down. So hopefully another example sort of how you can use line of sight to just protect your units on, you know, on their way to the battlefield, and hopefully not attack in the expected way, you know, attack in the unexpected way. We're going to have a look at a final example. Okay, so we're back with another example, and this was Here Robert versus Bumblebee in the Back to War tournament. This was originally casted by Vulcan and Primus. I will link you to the video below in the description. But what happens in this game is down in the southern bottom side of this map is Bumblebee calls in a lot of units, and he uses the road to attack down this area. He does also flank some units around the south, but what's happening is all the units that are coming down the road coming into line of sight of this M1 gun that Here Robert has placed in this forest position here. And if you are playing this map and you are on the left hand side as we see it, this position is a great position for an AT gun because it shuts down anything come down this road that comes out of line of sight of these forests. So what it means is that the flag is here, is that the player on the right of the map can't reinforce into this flag position because the M1 gun is shutting it down. So the attack that Bumblebee put through is kind of just getting beaten back time after time by this sort of M1 gun. What I'd like to have seen Bumblebee do is sort of take all of those Panzer 35Ss around the bottom side, and he actually does it a couple of times in the match and gets much more successful results. For example, this Ersatz trooping is here because he was able to take the panzers around the sort of south side and completely avoid the line of sight of this M1 gun. So I guess this wasn't really an example of sort of exactly what to do, but it was an example of why it's important to consider, you know, how you're attacking the enemy. If you continue to attack in the same way every time, you're kind of, the enemy can put up, you know, cost-effective defences and quite easily shut down any of your attacks. In the what I'll do is, in the description I'll link the cast of this by Vulcan and Primus, who co-cast, and Primus picks this up perfectly in the co-cast. I definitely recommend you watching that, and it's the sort of 14-minute point in the match. So maybe, you know, if you're looking at this specifically for this, maybe pick it up around the 10-minute mark, and Primus gives some detailed analysis of this. It's perfect, it's spot on, and it kind of inspired, you know, my thoughts. Whenever I play this map now, I'm always playing around the line of sight on the bottom sort of area here, because this road is just always protected by AT guns. I mean, if you're defending and you're on the left hand side, you will always pretty much always put an AT gun in that forest, or you'll have a tank up on that ridge or up on this ridge that's just shutting down this road. So if you don't, you know, flank round, so if you see here, Bumblebee's had more success because he flanked around units than he did in this first attack sort of going down the road, because it channeled you, you know, it's funneled him into this one spot. And if you look at the number of tanks that have been taken out, I guess hopefully you can see my point. Right, I am going to leave this tip here. Think about how you're attacking. Think about the map. You don't always have to attack in the most sort of direct route. If you take that into account, hopefully it should improve your game. Thanks for watching, and I hope to do lots more tip videos, so I'm sure this won't be the last.